want to share with you, as I say, the history of the organization, what we have done, and where we're going. Can you guys hear me very well?
Yep.
Okay, Tech, are you ready with the recording?
Good to go.
Huh?
You are good to go.
Okay, great, excellent. All right. Well, I don't need to tell you my name. I guess you know my name by now.
I'm not sure about that.
Very good. So you can take some note. We're already ready there. Pen, paper to take notes on that you can use. And at the end, I'll have an offer for you that I want you to consider. A little bit by myself, by my accent, you can tell that I'm from back east. No, I'm just kidding. Not back east, Cameroon, Western Africa. And then I left when I was 14. I went to France, lived there for 10 years, and then came to the United States. The reason I show you this chart is because again, I took from all these different travels, all these different continents, number one. And number two, because the materials that we have are universal. They apply as well in Africa, here, in France, and anywhere you may go. We also have some customers now from Asia, for that matter. And here is a picture of the day I left Cameroon for the first time. So as I say, I went to France. And then in France, I did some schooling. And as you can see, this picture is from 1986. So this thing networking has started a while back. You can say that's about a good 36 years in the area of networking. In France, I studied a subject very, very, very interesting. It's called architecture. It's an interesting one. I don't have a lot of pictures of that time, but I kept this one and I want to show it because it has everything to do with networking as a subject. You'll find later on. And I'll show you how. I don't have a lot of pictures. I have this one. And it's highly, very, very, very interesting. More on that a little later. And after that, I left France. I went to Florida, where I worked for about 10 years. And there, in this period of my life, I studied organization. That again will have a little impact on the subject of networking. I'm the one sitting there to the right. I discuss networking, but so is coaching. At the time, I was already coaching people as well. And you can see me there in the coaching session with a couple. And then I moved up to Virginia. You can see me there at the networking events. That's years back. That was at Maggiano in Tazon's Corner. Now, France, Florida, Virginia. When I got in Virginia, I did not know anybody. And I decided to start a business, which in retrospective may or may not have been a good idea. Why? Because when you start a business, you have to know people, but I did not know anybody. So I was going to events trying to meet people. But in so doing, I'll go to an event and come out and not feel happy or fulfilled. In fact, I just felt something off and I couldn't even tell you what it was. But I kept telling people, I want to meet more people. I want to meet more people. I want to meet more people. One day, one lady came to me and she said, do you say you want to meet more people? I said, yes. She said, there's a luncheon over there. There'll be 150 people there. I went, 150? Oh my God. I said, how much? She said, $150. I went, $150. The event I was going to at the time were free. If I had to pay, I'll pay $10. If they push harder, I pay $20. But one lunch, $150. I said, oh, about this. I thought about it. I said, let me spend the money. So I spent the money, $150 a ticket. So the day of the event, I get into the car, drive to the event, put my badge, walked in. The room was jammed packed. You couldn't move. a voice came over the PA system. They say, have a seat, we're going to serve lunch. You literally squeeze in a chair where you could. On came an MC. He introduced the keynote. The keynote grabbed the mic and never let go. 2 o'clock came, people are leaving to go back to work. I'm like, wait a minute. 3 minutes later, the room was empty and I was standing there with 3 business cards. I went, $150, 3 business cards? What just happened? That's when I had my first realization about networking. I realized that the thing that was bugging me was the fact that sometimes you could go to an event and never get the opportunity to network. $150 a ticket, a room jam-packed. At the end of the day, it was a good deal for the guy who put on the event. But for me, it was a disaster. I realized that that was the problem. And after that event, then I went to people like you. I said, Teresa, when you go to an event, what do you want to see happening? I wrote that down. What is that you don't want? I wrote that down. Lawrence, when you go to an event, what do you want to see happening? I wrote that down. What is that you don't want? I wrote that down. Devonte, and so forth. So I took what they wanted and created a breakfast event, of which you can see a picture here. One of the most important parts that came from the survey was the fact that they say they wanted to talk to people. So we set it up where part of the breakfast event, we have chairs facing one another. So you see me in the background there, Vaughan. I'll see the people facing the wall, you go and talk for 1 minute. After a minute, I hit a gong, bam, we switch. Those having their back to the wall will speak for 1 minute. Then I hit a gong twice, and then they move to the next person. As a result, we average between 30 to 50 people there. So when you came to the breakfast event, in addition to all the other interactions, you get to meet face-to-face with 15 people and therefore get 15 business cards at least. And after the event, I'll send them the complete list of all attendees. So when you came to the breakfast event and walked out, you knew for sure that you went to a networking event and you had 15 business cards minimally. And shortly after the event, you have the complete list of all attendees with name, phone number, company, and email. I can't tell you how many times I went to visit somebody, found them in their office, they printed the list that I sent, and they're calling people. Oh, by the way, one of the sections of the event, you get to stand up and tell people who you are and what you do, what companies you are with. Meaning what? Meaning if they didn't get a chance to meet them in the chair, you still know who they are, what they do. So if you choose to connect with them, you have the list, you can connect with them. And we have been doing that for over 18 years. Now we moved that online, naturally, with the pandemic. So we started doing this, it was working beautifully. And then 10 years into that, one lady sitting in a chair, talking to the other one, told her, oh, I am in renovation. I do bath and kitchen. And she talked to her during a minute. And then I hit Dogon. It was a turn of the other one to speak. The other one just said, well, I did my kitchen 3 months ago, and say nothing else. For the remaining 55 or 57, 55 seconds, she said nothing at all. That lady was not happy. She was upset. She came and told me, I told the other girl, lady over there, what you do, da, 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 da. Then I went, oh my God, they don't know how to network. I thought they did, because the word network is so much used, so prevalent in our society, it was not, it came like a shock to me. I was not quite sure at the time, actually. So what I did, I called some people briefly. Do you drive a car? Yes. How do you learn how to drive? Oh, I went to driving school, or somebody told me. All right. Do you network or attempt to network? Oh, yes, of course I network. What kind of question is that? Of course I network. How do you learn how to network? The answer was, number one, I just walked into the room. Number two, somebody pushed me into the room. Actually, it was so strange to me. I said, maybe it is the people I'm calling. It must be, because obviously, I mean, everybody got to know how to network. So I started putting together networking information and teaching it to the people at the class. I created an education section. So I'll go through that with them before they hit the chairs. All I was trying to solve was the fact that somebody come and complain at my event. I didn't want anybody to be unhappy at all. So I want to make sure before they go into the chairs, I give them some basic networking information. So we did, and then carry on beautifully. Didn't hear that problem anymore. And only then 2 years later, this happened. This lady came to the breakfast event. After the event, she came and looked at me, dead in the eyes. She was not smiling. She told me, I need to talk to you. Call me this afternoon. I was like, wow, why is she happy about? I kid you not, I went through that event in my mind at least 20 times. Wonder, wasn't the coffee not good? Did I make a poor comment on women? What could I have said her in everything that we did that day? Did somebody piss her off or whatever? The pressure was so much that when 12 o'clock came, I have to call her just to get that over with. Just whatever it was, I just had to get it over with. And I called her. The woman was screaming. I remember I have to keep the phone away. She said, do you know how much money I spend in networking? Do you know how much money I spend in networking organization? And no one ever told me how to network. I was relieved. I thought I killed somebody and I just didn't know it. As you can see, she's a franchise consultant, Kim, and she has been selling franchises to people. She knew very well, she discovered, that success of franchise holders was depending on their ability to network. All right? So she has been going around and around and around looking for a networking know-how to reduce the number of failure of franchise owners. She never found anything until she walked into a breakfast event where networking is spelled to her, and then she was mad. I take that. That's when I realized, oh my God, we have something. In fact, when I started teaching the network, I started a section of the education at the breakfast event, people were coming to me and say, you need to write a book on networking. You need to make a course on networking. I was like, excuse me? Because in my mind, whenever I went to a bookstore or a library, I saw books wall to wall on networking. Why did they need another book? I couldn't understand. In fact, I kept pushing back for over a decade. No, because I didn't see any value, any need for me to put out a book. And when this happened, then I realized that, oh my God, something is missing. And that's where I put together a book that should be coming out shortly. And then I started giving classes on networking. And the response has been quite amazing. Now, I do want you to take a look at the quote, that look at the words that are in front of you right there, because they are pretty significant. Whereas it has been known that knowledge is power. Is it? It has been said that correct knowledge is power. Is it? No, those two statements are not true. Correctly applied knowledge is power. You've been to some training with us. We are stressing application, correct application. Why? Somebody can have the knowledge, but that does not necessarily give result. The knowledge, number one, has to be correct. Number one. Number two, it has to be correctly applied. You need both. To be successful. Not only one, you need both. So in our program, the program overall of the Institute, it was the research of networking, finding out what works, not once in the blue moon. I guess that's what's in the book existing there. But the thing that works each and every time, and take the responsibility of seeing that it is correctly applied. So we did, the research is done, we know it works. So now in our program, we see to it that it's properly applied, because when it does, you get result 100% of the time. So you see there, one of our seminar, when we were doing them in person, we give them an information, we put them together, and then they do it. And we oversee that's being done properly, or if it's not, whatever, we sort it out. It has to be correctly applied, because we develop a knowledge such as when we teach somebody something, we ask them to go out and do it. When they come on back, if they say it doesn't work, we only ask them, what did you do? The research is done. We know it's worked 100% of the time. If you do not get the result, we know, we don't have to tell us, we know you did not do what we ask you to do, because what we do works 100% of the time. In other words, networking now is a science. It's not an idea. It's not what works sometimes. No. I say it's science, because we lay out, by the way, to start with, a proper workable definition of networking, the purpose of networking, the cardinal rules of networking, and the complete know-how. I'm not saying it's science in the sense of, what is that, a punchline. It is. A science has to have the cardinal rules on which it's based on. So once you master the conceptual understanding of those rules, you have the answer. You have everything you need to know. So make no mistake, it's not just a subject. It was up until then. It was an idea. No. Now it is a science. And it has never been. And I'll tell you how in the few minutes here. So now we offer a course online, such as this one we have here with the pandemic. And the beauty of the pandemic is that now we teach people how customers now Hong Kong and worldwide. And I've been working since day one to really get the knowledge out. For example, here you see an event years back where I sponsored an event with the Chamber of Commerce. You see a picture of myself there with the Virginia Senator, past Virginia Senator Tom Davis. And more recently, this picture of myself with Mr. Hoskins, who is the CEO of the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority. This is the person who brought Amazon to Virginia. He's a hell of an entrepreneur. Okay. Now, I have a couple of questions for you. You can answer to me in the chat and let me know. Have you ever had the feeling of wasting your time, money, or energy in networking? You can answer in the chat. Have you ever had the feeling of wasting your time, money, or energy in networking? Okay, very good. Let me see. All right, I see that. Very good. Okay. Very good. Good. My next question to you is, have you ever had trouble finding or getting clients? Have you ever had trouble finding or getting clients? Very good. Have you ever had any challenge whatsoever in following up? Have you ever had any challenges whatsoever in following up? All right. Do you have trouble closing? Do you have trouble closing? Okay, I see the response. Okay, very good. Okay, got that. All right. Well, the program we put together, the answer for us is the Networking for Profit Mastery. It's a result of 40 years of study, research, and testing. I mentioned an example earlier today of a guy who came and tell me, oh, the way I approach client is I say this. And I was like, oh my God, we don't do that anymore. There have been a 40-year evolution to where we are right now. It is definitely a whole science. What is the Networking for Profit Mastery? It is a program where we take you, we work with you and bring you to the level of lifestyle. In other words, getting client does not no longer, it becomes really a way of life. It's built in, it becomes second nature. Okay. I talk about research. How do you drive a car? You never realize that perhaps, but you do three things each and every time. And you do those three things in that order. And when you do those three things, the car moves and gets you where you want to go. This is called know-how. This is called a technology. If you have put together a body of information that somebody can use each and every time and get an exact, precise, expected result, then you have yourself a technology or a science. Until then, you don't. It took me some time to grasp it. Remember, I told you people were coming to me asking me to write a book on networking. I kept pushing back because I said, there's books all over the place. But then I realized if they have the answers, they wouldn't be asking for the book, would they? The fact that they was claiming for a book or a course, I did not realize or understand it at the time. It meant that there was something missing. I'm not the one coming and say something's missing. No, they were telling me that in so many ways, but I couldn't wrap my head around it. I assumed that people, we do that. We assume that everybody knows, everybody knows, everybody knows. And then one day find out, my God, they don't know. It happened. And that was one of those. This is a big one because small businesses, by definition, their key tools is networking. They can't do the big fat advertisement and television or afford this big campaign. Even if they go online today. Oh, by the way, the SBA did a survey. One of the reasons small businesses are failing more and more today, whereas 2 out of 10 used to succeed, now it's only 1 out of 9. And one of the problems they found in the survey is that people are sharing money in how do you call it, in social media to market their business, and nothing happened, or very little. Or they have the quote-unquote coaches, but they teach them something. They've not even seen themselves, this is workable or whatever. That's one of the 2 main reasons businesses are failing today. So then the research, what you are looking at is what called a technology and know-how. You do 1, 2, 3, you get result. 1, 2, 3, you get result. Allow me to share this with you. When it comes to driving, we don't sit there and say he's left-handed or right-handed, or he's gifted or not gifted. You want to drive? We take you to driving school. You come out on the other side, you can drive. However, when it comes to networking, we say he is talented. He's a natural. He was born that way. Well, actually, that is a confession that we don't have a proper know-how. We don't say that when it comes to driving, but we say that when it comes to networking and talking to people and what have you. It means only one thing. We don't know how to get clients. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, but we don't have a 1, 2, 3 in getting clients. The research then was against this factor. How? What is the 1, 2, 3 in getting clients? And here it is. One, two, three, in that order. When you get into your car, you don't just go and grab the clutch. No, that will be 2. The car won't move. You get into the car, you don't just put the pedal to the middle. If you do that, the car won't move. And so it is in business. Allow me to explain this chart to you. Let's start with the sales. A survey was done at the networking event put on by the Chamber of Commerce. People will ask, who is here to sell something? All the hands went up. Who is here to buy something? All the hands went down. What does that tell you? They were there to sell their product and services. Covertly or overtly, but what that was the goal, sell. But the kicker is they were at a networking event. If you have been in business more than 24 hours, you have surely heard the phrase, the elevator speech. What is it? Meaning what? I come to you, I tell you what I do. So I promote my services, company, or whatever. We see that that comes under promotion. But all we know on this planet, when it comes to networking, it is sales, covertly, overtly, or the elevator speech. We never graduated to networking. The purpose of networking is to create acceptance. So how does that work? You create acceptance first. Having done that, the person is now ready and willing to listen to you. At which point in time you deliver your elevator speech, right? And tell them how much the product costs. And then they buy it or not. Don't be too optimistic expecting that the people buy, because per the statistics, out of 10 people you meet, only 1 become your client. Let me give that to you again. Based on statistics, we did the research. Out of 10 people you ever talk to out there, only 1 on average become your client. What does that mean? It means the science of networking is, how do you handle the 9? One out of 10. So when you go out to network, then that means 90% of your time and energy, you are dealing with the person who may not necessarily buy your product. So then networking naturally, 9 out of 10, become a subject of how do you handle the 9. The way you handle the 9 is to create acceptance. Tell them what you do. Tell them the price. You know 1 out of 10 is going to buy. But if you go through this line, the person who does not buy will happily take you to people who can use your service. Are you tracking with me? Does that make sense? You guys can open up and tell me that. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Yes, it makes sense.
Yes, this is important to understand. One has to understand how this game is being played, because otherwise you easily reduce your chances of success in the business sometimes. And then you may say, well, networking does not work and what have you. Not that it does not work, it has its rules. At one of the conferences that I did 5 years ago, we were in the afternoon in the hotel and I was presenting, and I'm covering this chart. Somebody screamed loud, "Oh my God!" He startled the whole room. Everybody went, what? People answered, "What?" He stood up and he said, "I am with the government. We buy a sales program. We buy a promotion program, but we never bought any networking program." The customer number one in the world, the United States government, never bought a single networking program. It makes sense. The subject never existed. It means that the books that are out there were successful action or worse, opinion. Whether a successful action may work for Larry, it won't work for Devontae. It was never pulled to a science where you can do a 1, 2, 3. Are you tracking with me? Now, let me give you a live example of what I'm talking about. In fact, this live example is, as part of research, is what I found. I discovered what I'm sharing with you now. 2008, the market crashed. I walked into a networking event, and then I run into this financial planner, and I'm talking to him. I was interested. I did not know anything about the finances, so I'm asking him what's happening and so forth. I'm interested. I'm asking question after question after question. He's answering. I'm interested. I want to know. And I remember vividly, I've never forget that incident, that moment. I asked him a question that day. He didn't answer that question. Instead, he told me, "And you, what do you do?" I don't understand. I'm asking you a question, asking me a question. What does that mean? What's happening? He did. And I told him what I did. Later on, that guy introduced me to 20 different business people who all bought my service. In fact, introduced is not the word. He sold it to them. I remember I walk into the office of those people. They tell me, "I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this." I was just taking orders. "I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this." Taking orders. I'm like, that's when I understood what I'm explaining to you right now. It is not about telling them who you are or selling them. It's about creating acceptance. Once you do, and I do know this, that day, that very great day, had I walked up to that guy and start telling him what I do, I would never have gotten the 20 sales that I got. I know so. But because I show interest in him, I talk to him, I created acceptance. Once you do that, now they listen to you. You know they're going to listen to you. Before that, they may not be ready. That's the other thing that I understood. You walked up to somebody, start telling him what you do. Well, he goes out this way, come out the other. If you want it to go in and stay, you want to talk to them, show interest, have them talk to you first. Once they've talked to you, now they are open to listen to you. They will receive. Before that, they may not receive. So if you master this game, you will be received 100% of the time, as opposed to 50% or 0%. The proof is in the pudding, the result. Talk to the guy. The mechanism was there. Ask him the question, show interest, and then the flip takes place. They are interested. You tell them 20 customers. Is that good or what? Yes, it is good. So there was something there. When I say research, there was something there. That is what I just explained to you. That's how it works. It is 1, 2, 3. That's how our organization lasted for 18 years, and it will last forever as long as we apply what you're looking at. I have no problem. That organization is going to last for 5. Even the pandemic couldn't slow us down. Even though we haven't went online, we're still running today at 30 people or plus. Now you are looking at the technology and how to get business. Just like in a car, you do 1, 2, 3 in that order. You do something else, you ain't getting any client. Or once in a blue moon, you get one, but it becomes really a World War III for you. It's not a pretension on my part because the definition of networking in the dictionary is incorrect. I had to work out a definition. Once the book come out, I'm going to send it to all the dictionaries and say, please correct. Not because not for me. If you read the definition of networking in the dictionary and apply it, you're going to fail in the marketplace. Why do you think people fail in business? Why do you think people fail in network marketing companies? Why? Because they don't know how to network. They want to. It's not because you want to drive a car that you can drive a car. You have to learn how. This is as simple as that. Somebody who sells franchises all the time, seeing failure, that's hard for somebody to take people money and see them fail. She has been going around and around and around until she came and found out, oh my God, there is a know-how for it. It took a fair amount of research and testing. This is not just somebody's bright idea. It evolved and put together, so now it is there. And that's what we're making available now to people. Talking to one person, wound up to 20 clients, there's something there. It is a successful action. You want to know what the laws of it are. You want to know what are the laws so you can do it again and again and again and again. You have the recipe, you have the formula. So now you can have as many cookies as you want. Once you know the formula and apply it. Now I realized the big fat words. So what we did is I broke it further down into exact, precise skills we can teach somebody so they can do it successfully each and every time. It starts with the mindset, and rightly so. Remember, I showed you I mentioned the Chamber of Commerce. Those people's mindset were to sell. Well, guess what? The guy in front of you, it's pick up your intention. You're not trying to talk to me. You're not interested in me. You want to sell me something. Much as you get into the car, put your pedal to the metal. Good luck. You're going to be there all day, all night. Ain't going to happen. All day, all night. That car won't move. All right. A business is to get, the definition of business is to get client, paying client. So it has to do sales. So if you're not getting them, if you're doing the wrong thing, well, you don't get much of business happening. So first and foremost, the correct mindset. Two, the ideal client is mathematical. It's out of 10 people you talk to, only one is really your client. You're going to make 10% of the sales. If you talk to 10 persons and 9 of them are your ideal client, you tend to make 90% of the money. Is it worth it to figure out exactly, precisely who is your ideal client and go after them? That is the name of the game, in fact, in business. Find out who is the client and go and talk to them. Some businesses not having this talk to a whole lot of people who are not their client. So therefore, the revenue suffers naturally. Okay. Having the ideal client too is just part of the equation. Why? Because you have to talk to them. What do you tell them? How do you talk to them? It's important. You talk to them the wrong way, you lose them. We teach you how to talk to them so they can say, they are not necessarily say, yes, that's not the point, so that they get your message and they can make the right decision. There's an art and a science to it. Again, highly precise, not some idea. No. We tell you exactly, this is the 1, 2, 3. When you do that, they receive your message. It just so happened that the day you talk to them, they don't necessarily whip out the credit card or the checkbook and give it to you. What does that mean? That means follow up. Therefore, we got to teach you how to properly follow up. Oh, did you know that 97% of the business people will openly admit that they have trouble with follow-up? 97%. It is a problem. Follow-up is a science and an art, both. A science in the number of times you contact the people, and not how to go from one meeting to the next. And having a proper follow-up system where nothing falls in the cracks. And that, we cover that in the follow-up section. The last part is closing. Oh my God, people say closing. Oh my God, closing. Actually, the good news is closing is the easiest part of them all. But that is if the prior steps are done properly. And it makes sense, think about it. You are the specialist. You are the expert. Our job then, or your job at that time, is just recommend which work best for the customer. It's not about forcing them and closing them into it. You have the correct mindset, you have the right client, you talk to them properly, you follow up. When it comes to that, they're asking you, if it's done well, they say, well, which one do you want me, Sama, which one do you want me to do? Or Larry, which one do you recommend? Because you are the specialist, they don't know. They need the product. Which one is best? That's you. You are the expert. That's where you come in and guide them, get the one that will handle their need, the one that fits best for them. What you are looking at is the simplicity of it all. I was on a phone call one day. It was a networking event online with 100 people. You have to introduce yourself in one line, no more. Otherwise, they cut you. It can be yardy with like one line. 100 people, imagine that online. So everybody introducing themselves. And then my turn came, I introduced myself. As soon as the meeting was over, my phone rang. I grabbed it. Lady on the phone. She said, a lot of coaches get people from 1 to 10, but you get them from 0 to 1. Oh, I never thought about it in those terms. She really got me thinking. And I said, where does this come from? And then I realized that when she was looking at this, or what I was saying and doing, these are really the fundamentals of all fundamentals. That's what she picked up. People will coach you to that, they coach you to this, the SEO, and that. Nothing wrong, but the fundamentals have to be in place. But how do I get to be thinking that way? Then I remember architecture school. You see, when I was telling that everything led to this today, in architecture school, they teach you one thing. You can forget everything else, but one thing you'll never forget, they teach you. And that is this. If you ever build a house, you make sure the foundation are solid and strong. That was the line of thought when I was putting together this program. These are the foundation of it all, and they are strong. Build on that. There's no limit as to how high you can go. You could do without the foundation, but it's risky. The house can come down. As sad as maybe yesterday I was hearing on the radio, I was in my car, hearing on radio, you heard about the incident that took place in Florida where the house collapsed, 100 people died. Well, they found another house like that. They asked people, all of you need to leave. They evacuate that entire buildings. And they're getting engineers there to check it out, make sure, and if there's a problem, so they can fix the problem. Only then those people could go back in. You could build, you could go without this program. This is a free country. But it's like a house built on the foundation that is not solid. A great many people have gone to the program, and I want to share with some of them here. By the way, this is the mindset of it. That's a picture of mindset. To the left, you have the person helping themselves, the correct mindset, the person serving others. Just to give you a clear picture on it. Here is Annie. This is an interesting story. She's one of the persons that I coach on my program. We got on a coaching session. She happened to be in Florida. We are on Zoom, and the woman started crying. I'm like, oh. I gave her a minute to get herself together. I did not even say a word. And I said, you tell me, I've had my business for 90 years. Now, finally, I see that I can succeed. 19 years. She has been going on from 19 years with no foundations. She get into the program, she breaks in tears. This is another one, Dan, a mortgage executive. He says, I was able to learn techniques I have been hoping to learn for years. He's now with PNC Bank. Techniques he has been hoping to, I understand, the knowledge was not there. It's not that Basil is saying it. They are selling it. A mortgage officer, he has money. What books can he not buy? He's looking for trying to improve himself. Can buy anything and everything. He has learned techniques that has been hoping to. This is very hard, really. Hoping, not even that was looking. It was just hoping that maybe one day I find the answers. Okay. There's the last one here. This one, Valerie, she blew me away. At the end of the program, we always have a review to see what we have done, where they are, how much progress they were made. So I'm sitting down, I'm like looking, listening, I'm waiting for the numbers. Tell me that you're now shooting to the moon. Tell me that's making this much money. She surprised me. She shocked the hell out of me. She told me, the most important thing I got out of the program is that my whole life, people have been telling me what to do. Now I'm going to do my own thing. And she started her own reflexology business. I realized that built into the program is a personal development. You see, I was not looking at it. Just like all of us in business. How many tell me that the program get you some more money? That's what I was expecting. She threw me off coming this up. Then I realized that built in the program is a personal development that is more powerful. This woman is about to retire from the job she has been doing. Going into retirement, now she found herself, now she's starting her own business. Her whole life. She found herself. Now she's doing her own thing. What is the price of that? How much would you pay to get that? The Networking for Profit is a one-year program. Okay, it's a program where we provide you with professional advice, guidance, assistance to deal with any issue that can come your way in the business. In fact, we go way beyond networking, way beyond business development. Because as I show you a program in Florida, I got to learn about administration. So we bring all that data to bear to help you grow your business. Here are the details. We do a customer's roadmap. For example, this one, we have one coming up next Friday at 3 o'clock, where we look at the business and do a plan that is tailored to you. Okay, so that's what we do. And we do that every quarter. You see a la carte. The price that you see at the bottom there are the a la carte value of those programs. You can come to us. We can offer any single one of those different sections of the program I'm going to show you here. Lead Generation Mastery. This is a conference we do a whole day. We do a deep dive. There are 3 conferences that we offer as part of this program. In the Lead Generation Mastery, we get you to 1, define your ideal client. 2, where to find them. And 3, how to talk to them. You start with the leads. You have to have the client. Okay. The next conference we follow is the follow-up mastery. As I mentioned, 97% of the business people are struggling with follow-up. Again, here we broke down follow-up for you A to Z. And we cover a system that you can use. So no connection, no contact of use ever falls between the cracks. Follow-up is what they call in French la bête noire, the black beast, the biggest challenge people have. I see people all the time, or maybe they have a follow-up system, or maybe they're not following up, or maybe. A lot of business is lost because people do not master follow-up. But it's not so much that they don't master follow-up. Again, it's because they have never been taught properly how to do follow-up. As I said, it is not only follow-up calling people, it is an art and a science. At this conference, we spell it to you so that you're left with no doubt in your mind. And we get you to work out a follow-up system that works for you, that you can work with. It's so important follow-up because meeting people at networking event is an easy thing, nothing to it. If you don't follow up, it's not that you're making a mistake, you're shooting yourself in the foot. It will be better to never go to a networking event, actually, than to go to a networking event or go and meet people and not follow up. It would be better not to go. Because if you don't go, they don't have a bad opinion or picture about yourself. But if you go and not do a proper follow-up following that, after that, well, they say, oh, I don't know about that guy. They seldom give you the check the day they meet you. As the old saying goes, fortune is in the follow-up. So if you want to make money, you have to master follow-up. There's no if and but about it. I don't know, I've been to startup seminars, seldom somebody explain the follow-up. Most it's not just the follow-up, really. You can explain the follow-up, but you have to put in there, you have to show people a system they can use that does not fail them. And we have one of those. All right. The third conference is closing. We say the easiest one it is, but still you have to have the right mindset about it. You got to understand what it is. You got to understand what money is. You got to understand what is the production exactly. How does that relate to money? Once you have those certainty, then you don't look at closing as a thing because it's not really much of anything. All of you professional over here, your product is not the money. It is the transformation you get. Closing is the details in the way. They have to pay you. That's understandable. That's understood. But you need to understand to see exactly precisely when it fits in your process and handle it as such so that you can get the transformation you want. Making the closing the end of a lot is like I want to get the money. No, you get the money, but the most important thing is you're delivering the product or the service to the customer. That will always be senior. Production always comes first. But you need to understand how that whole game is being played so that you can then bring the customer along easily. And it's fundamental because until something is sold, nothing is about to happen. So you don't want to do all this work, the follow-up and everything else, and not have a grasp or a full command of closing, because if you done poorly, that defeats all the work that you done up until that time. So mastering closing is a must. And better yet, you master it in alignment with your personality and who you are. How you approach them, how you talk to them, how you follow up, how you close. It's all in harmony, You don't want the customer feeling that he has another personality or your personality shift or whatever, or smoothly and safely you bring them through it. That's what we cover it all. Through our company is Networking Institute. We could have said, well, we teach you only how to network, but that's not enough. We're dealing with business people. A business has to be profitable. So therefore, we have to cover the whole gamut. That's why we go into follow-up. That's what we teach. Ensure that you master follow-up and closing. You understand now how the program was put together? Very good. We do coaching one-on-one. For some people, coaching is a luxury. It may be. I'm not saying that got to be expensive. That's beside the point. But know this. All the key name, the big name that you see on TV has coaches, all of them. I think Tiger Woods has some kind of like 27 coaches. I'm not telling you to ask that to have that much. But the fact is, a coach can make a difference. The right one with the proper know-how will make a total difference in your life. Name them, they have a coach. If you've seen them on the television, you bet they have a coach. Muhammad Ali, Oprah, Tiger Woods, I mentioned, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, name them. Each one of them has a coach. Okay. We also have 24 implementation group called CALL. The reason we do that is we bring the business people so they can learn from one another, so they can gain from the experience of another. Somebody may be dealing with a situation here, and you learn that way. There's also power and knowledge into those interactions. All right. Weekly calls. We put that in there, so it's kind of like an emergency call. If you're dealing in a program, a project, you need some help right away, you can call, we can give you the assistance. Sometimes you don't have to wait for the 2 weeks or maybe your coaching session. You may need something on an immediate basis. We make ourselves available to help you with that. This is very interesting. We are so rich in materials, very rich. At one point I was hosting a TV show. We have 150 interviews with top successful business people. All that is cataloged and available to you. And all the classes, program, and all the Lord only knows. We had a session recently here with one of our conference, which is Lead Mastery. And there was a lady there. She has trained 6,600 coaches. Her name is Barbara Wainwright. She came and delivered a session. Oh my God. I mean, it was beyond the beyond. Of course, we have all this catalog. Depending on when we working with somebody, if an issue comes, we just go and plug that, take the data from a library and give it to them. And they have access to all that. So in a nutshell, really, we're handing you the keys to our vault. All right. Remember, I mentioned correctly apply. So in this program, we go out on the field trips with you or a networking event and watch you work, standing next by, looking. We're not just throwing the knowledge at you, we're there with you. You go over, you did it, we're watching, we come on back, discuss it so you can go. We want to make sure you do it right. That's what the event and field trip business are for. Now, if we travel, let's say, for example, we used to go on a cruise with some 400 business people. If you travel, well, of course, you pay for your ticket and then you travel. But we go there, and that's probably one of the best events I've ever been to with 400 business people. Now, you watch your network. Now all day, we can go with you to meeting, discussion with the deal you want to cut. That's not all. We connect you to what's known in business as joint venture partners. Like you may be, let's say you talk to coaches. That's the thing that you do. That's their client. Well, we find somebody who's already had an audience or community of coaches, and we hook them up to you so they can bring you in, and then you can talk to your audience. What is the value of that? It is tremendous. Because now you're not only going for trying to talk to one coach, another one. You're out of the one-on-one, the 1, 2 Z's to the multitude, the many. We teach you to connect with the people, and we introduce you to those people who have your client. So you can go and talk to all of their clients and promote your services. It's called joint venture. Okay. And then we don't want you just hanging out there by ourselves. So we have a Facebook page where all the members can register, and then they talk to one another for support, survey, whatever, or do some exercise. That way you're not alone by yourself in Ireland. You're connected to other business people, camaraderie, fellowship, and what have you. All right. And as need be also, we bring people in groups so they can have meetings. Accountability can be a major factor in business. It is, actually. So every week or every 2 weeks, you can meet with the partners of the program so you can be accountable to one another. That again give you the boost and keep you moving. Add it all up. It comes to a mere $48,465. As the guy said, that's not all. There is more. For the people who sign up right away, we give them an access to a BL networking breakfast event, which I've been doing for 18 years, a special report on the 5 secrets to successful networking, and 1 hour of immediate coaching. We throw in also an evaluation of their own business. The value of this is $4,125, which brings the whole program not to $52,590, but a mere $14,999. Like rich people say at times, don't tell me how much it costs, tell me how much it can bring me. I have 2 friends. An organization approached them, and then they had a membership. The membership, I think, was $18,000. One of my friends said, no, it's not for me. Okay. And the other one said yes. The other ones took the membership at $18,000. A year after that, the person who put the $18,000 made $500,000 out of that membership. Coaching or this program is not an expense, it is an investment. How do you join the program? I'm glad you asked. I'm going to tell you how. This is the procedure to join the program. You don't pay the money right now. I hope we have changed our site. If not, we'll change it at the break time here. When you go to our site now, the blnetworking.net, you'll have an opportunity to make a deposit of $1 to schedule, and then you schedule your appointment with me. Okay, so you pay $1 schedule appointment. We want you to show up, because if you don't show up, we bill you $496. Okay, we want the interview so we can have a conversation with you and find out your interest, what do you want to achieve. An open conversation, so we know. We know if there's a fit, if we can deliver to you what you would like to achieve. Find out about your goals, what you want to achieve, and how you work, how much time you want to put in the program, and what have you. Once we have that finalized and we both agree on that, then you can make a payment of $14,998, or we can put you on a payment plan for 11 months. Okay, so there you have it. The networking for profit mastery. Okay, very good. So what we're going to do right now is take a short break, 5-minute break, and then we'll convene, and then we're going to have a laser coaching session where I spend time with you. You ask a question regarding to the business, and we give you the opportunity to have some coaching complimentary at no charge to you.